Burt Lancaster in reality hated his extra than everyone. Burt Lancaster was born Burton Stephen Lancaster on November 2, 1913 in New York City. Raised in East Harlem, his upbringing became deeply motivated by using his Irish-American operating elegance roots. He became the son of Elizabeth Roberts and James Henry Lancaster, a postman. Growing up in a crowded, bustling city surroundings, young Burt advanced an early love for bodily activity and athletics, excelling in gymnastics and basketball for the duration of his faculty years. Lancaster's bodily prowess could later become a key thing of his enchantment as an actor, contributing to his photo as a rugged, dynamic main guy. Burt's formative years in East Harlem uncovered him to a various and hard environment that formed his robust sense of independence. He attended DeWitt Clinton High School, in which he became no longer best a celebrity athlete, however also began to discover his abilities for overall performance. His physicality and athleticism led him to a sudden early profession as a circus acrobat. Lancaster joined the K Brothers Circus as a part of a high-flying trapeze act, wherein he accomplished bold aerial stunts, demonstrating the fearless strength that might come to be his hallmark as a performer. However, a hand injury in the course of his circus career cut brief his time as an acrobat, leading him to pursue other avenues. With the outbreak of World War II, Lancaster served inside the United States Army. He was part of the Special Offerings Division, wherein his skills for overall performance have been another time highlighted. His military career allowed him to entertain troops, acting in numerous theatrical productions, which rekindled his hobby in appearing. After the battle, Lancaster lowered back to civilian life, and a risk encounter with a theatrical manufacturer led him to audition for degree roles. He made his Broadway debut in 1945 inside the play A Sound of Hunting, which garnered high-quality interest for his extreme degree presence. In 1946, Lancaster made his Hollywood film debut in The Killers, a movie noir traditional directed by means of Robert Siodmak. His performance, because the doomed, brooding boxer Swede Anderson catapulted him to stardom. The movie's success installed Lancaster as a leading guy in Hollywood, referred to for his hard, rugged personality and his potential to bring complicated emotions beneath his bodily exterior. Lancaster's early career in Hollywood was marked via his portrayal of morally conflicted and bodily implementing characters, which ideal his herbal athleticism and excessive display screen presence. Throughout the late 40s and 1950s, Lancaster became one of the most sought-after actors in Hollywood, starring in a sequence of successful films that showcased his versatility. He appeared in Criss Cross, 1949, Comeback, Little Sheba, 1952, and From Here to Eternity, 1953, the latter of which earned him his first Academy Award nomination. His role in From Here to Eternity as Sergeant Milt Worden, a difficult but vulnerable soldier entangled in a forbidden love affair, solidified his fame as a Hollywood icon. The famous seashore scene in which he and Deborah Kerr embraces the waves crash round them have become one of the maximum iconic moments in movie history. As Lancaster's career advanced, he started to take greater manipulation over his projects. In 1948, he co-founded Hecht Hill Lancaster, an independent manufacturing business enterprise with producer Harold Hecht and writer James Hill. This flow became groundbreaking on the time, as few actors had ventured into generating. The business enterprise allowed Lancaster to pick his personal scripts, develop unique tasks, and collaborate with administrators and writers who shared his vision. This independence caused a string of significantly acclaimed movies, together with Marty, 1955, which won the Academy Award for Satisfactory Image and Sweet Smell of Achievement, 1957, in which Lancaster gave a chilling performance as ruthless gossip columnist J.J. Hunsaker. Lancaster changed into not content material to be typecast as simply a hard man. He sought roles that challenged him as an actor and driven the limits of his craft. He regarded in a lot of genres, from westerns like Gunfight at the Au Corral, 1957, to ancient epics such as Elmer Gantry, 1960, wherein he portrayed a cynical, opportunistic preacher. His overall performance in Elmer Gantry earned him the Academy Award for Best Actor, cementing his recognition as one of the most professional and versatile actors of his era. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, Lancaster persevered to extend his variety, taking over roles that have been regularly controversial or in advance of their time. He seemed in John Frankenheimer's political mystery 7 Days in May 1964, the prison drama Birdman of Alcatraz 1962, and the Italian historic epic The Leopard 1963, directed by means of Luciano Visconti. His portrayal of Prince Don Fabrizio in The Leopard was specially praised for its depth and subtlety, demonstrating Lancaster's capacity to excel in worldwide cinema. In the later levels of his career, Lancaster transitioned to greater mature roles, often playing getting old, global weary characters who contemplated his very own journey as an actor and a man. He appeared in movies like Atlantic City, 1989, wherein he performed the memorable function of Dry Archibald Graham Wickham Moonlight Graham, a person whose quiet awareness and nostalgia resonated deeply with audiences. Despite his advancing age, Lancaster remained a commanding presence on display screen. Continuing to work into the early 1990s, he made his final film look in Separate But Equal 1991, a television miniseries about the landmark Supreme Court case Brown v. Board of Education, in which he portrayed lawyer John W. Davis. His overall performance became a fitting end to a career marked by means of ardor, depth, and a deep commitment to his craft. Lancaster and Kirk Douglas had considered one of Hollywood's maximum famous and long-standing rivalries, although their complicated relationship changed into marked by using both deep admire and simmering tension. The two actors first met inside the late 40s, while both were making their mark in the film industry, and from their preliminary encounter, it became clear that they were destined to be competitors. Both Lancaster and Douglas have been ambitious, charismatic, and extremely competitive, which often caused clashes on and off set. Lancaster was regarded for his athleticism and large presence, at the same time as Douglas had a more extreme, brooding fashion that captivated audiences. These variations in appearing method added gas to their contention. Although they co-starred in numerous movies together, which include Gunfight at the OK Corral, 1957, and 7 Days in May, 1964, their interactions had been regularly fraught with underlying animosity. Lancaster's background as a circus acrobat and his excessive physicality made him more of, while Douglas, with his chiseled functions and fierce depth, gravitated closer to extra-psychological roles, creating an implicit opposition between the two. While their competition played out in public and in the press, it turned into no longer only expert. Behind the scenes, there was a personal friction that ran deep. Lancaster, known for his sharp wit and directness, often determined Douglas's ego and self-promotion, worrying. Douglas, however, changed into equally vital of Lancaster's sometimes overbearing personality and noticed him as a person who became hard to collaborate with. Their differences had been no longer simply artistic, however, additionally rooted in their personalities, as each guys had robust critiques and had been no longer afraid to voice them, frequently resulting in clashes during movie production. Despite their aggressive relationship, Lancaster and Douglas shared a mutual admire for each other's abilities. Both actors have been conscious that their contention, though heated, helped push each of them to supply more potent performances. Lancaster as soon as recounted that Douglas delivered out the quality in him, and vice versa, which is why they endured to work collectively notwithstanding their variations. In truth, their chemistry on screen was undeniable, and plenty of enthusiasts enjoyed looking the sparks fly between the two. Their professional competition also have become a promoting point for residences, as audiences were drawn to the dynamic anxiety that played out in their films. One of the important resources of tension between the two stars was their contrasting political opinions. While Lancaster was recognized for his liberal activism and support for civil rights, Douglas frequently leaned more conservative, specifically in his earlier years. These political differences every now and then spilled into heated arguments, similarly riding a wedge among them. However, their shared reports in Hollywood's golden age and the mutual demanding situations they faced as main men stored their courting intact, despite the fact that it became strained at instances. Over the years, Lancaster and Douglas both admitted that their rivalry turned into truly exaggerated via the media, yet there has been no denying the genuine friction that existed among them. Despite their variations, they shared a professional bond that lasted for decades. The tension, at the same time as palpable, was tempered by means of a grudging admiration that neither ought to fully deny. In their later years, the animosity among Lancaster and Douglas softened. As each guy's aged and their careers developed, they started out to reflect at the significance in their relationship. In interviews, Douglas spoke more kindly of Lancaster, recognizing the impact they'd on every different's careers. Lancaster, too, mellowed in his view of Douglas, and even though they were never close buddies, they shared a feel of nostalgia for the technology they'd helped outline. Ultimately, the contention between Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas became emblematic of two effective personalities clashing in the pursuit of excellence. Though their courting was marked by using tension and at instances outright animosity, it additionally contributed to a number of the most memorable movies of Hollywood's golden age. Their on-screen chemistry turned into plain, and their rivalry remains one of the most fascinating in the history of cinema. Albert Lancaster surpassed away on October 20, 1994 at the age of 80, leaving at the back of an indelible legacy within the world of cinema. He became no longer most effective a pioneering actor, however, additionally a trailblazing producer who helped form the current movie industry. Throughout his 45-year career, Lancaster appeared in greater than 70 films. In comes popularity of his capacity to embody an extensive range of characters and genres. His work continues to influence actors and filmmakers these days, and his contributions to the industry are celebrated as a testimony to his gigantic expertise and enduring impact. Outside of his profession, Lancaster was acknowledged for his political activism and philanthropy. He was an outspoken advocate for civil rights and antagonistic the Hollywood blacklist throughout the McCarthy generation. The use of his have an effect on to aid artists who were unfairly targeted. Lancaster was also a supporter of progressive causes, such as nuclear disarmament and humanitarian efforts round the arena. His commitment to social justice prolonged beyond the display, as he used his platform to promote alternate and recognition on troubles that mattered deeply to him. Lancaster's personal lifestyles turned into as dynamic as his career. He changed into married 3 times and had 5 youngsters. His relationships have been frequently tumultuous, reflecting the acute, passionate nature that defined both his expert and personal life. Despite these demanding situations, Lancaster maintained near bonds with his own family and became deeply dedicated to his youngsters.